Hello everyone, this is Lucy05 and welcome to Global Central Toy Review. And today so I'm looking at a 1993 release by Hasbro of the G.I. Joe vehicle and action figure review. And today's vehicle and action figure review, we're looking at the Detonator and its driver, the Nitro Viper. Now I got this for $50 and everything you see here is complete minus the box itself. It's including the figure along with the accessory and the instruction manual. So $50 for this entire set is actually a good bargain there, because the Detonator is one of the quite rare vehicles that was released in 1993, because during that time in the 90s a lot of the G.I. Joe vehicles starts to lessen down their production rate. So this is one of the rarer vehicles out there. So without further ado, let's begin our review first on the Nitro Viper. Be right back. And we're back, and this time we'll take a look at the Nitro Viper. Now a little bit of information and trivia for the Nitro Viper figure. Now he is the only figure back then that was released in 1993 that doesn't come with a file card. Well, at least not officially from Hasbro. Only in 1994, 1 year later, a G.I. Joe collector by the name of Michael Levanos actually custom made a file card for the Nitro Viper, and then later on Hasbro officially sanctioned the file card and making it an official file card for the Nitro Viper, which is quite interesting to note. Now you can see the file card for the Nitro Viper like so. It's quite interesting to note this kind of stuff. Now let's take a look at the figure's accessory here. Now the figure does come with one weapon, one little pistol here, made out of a black plastic material color with no paint job at all. Now the mold is nothing new. The mold is reused from the Track Viper's pistol. It's the same design, nothing special. Got a nicer handle at the bottom, smaller trigger there. Got the body of the gun itself. You got a barrel at the tip, very nice. But still, it's a reuse mode, so I'm not gonna spend so much time on the details. Let's take a look at the figure's paint job. Now, majority of the figure's body itself is not painted at all. Most of it are just purely plastic material color, as you can see there. The torso is made of a black plastic material color. But the strap from the waist here that goes all the way up and all the way on the other side is painted in orange. The shoulders fins are actually painted in orange as well. At the top, not the entire fin section, just only on the top. And just below the neck here is painted in orange. The entire head is also made of a orange plastic material color, but the visor is painted in silver. Upper bicep here is made of a black plastic material color. However, the elbow joint here and throughout the entire lower arms there is made of a orange plastic material color, but the gloves is painted in black. The crotch area is made of a orange plastic material color, so does the thighs itself with no paint job at all. The lower legs there is also made of an orange plastic material color, but the kneecaps is painted in silver, so does the boots itself. And that's all you're gonna get for the paint job for the Nitro Viper. Simplistic and rather weird in colors because it's really bright in neon orange. I find it really weird. You got black, orange and silver. He really stood out in the battlefield, and people can actually spot him in a mile away, especially on the shiny little visor here. Now for the figure's mold itself, there is absolutely nothing new on this mold. Basically they just took the Track Viper figure and just repainted it. So basically they are both exactly the same figure but different names and different colors, which I find Hasbro was really lazy doing this. They could have easily swapped the parts with other figure parts, but they just took an entirely another figure from the Track Viper and just converted it into the Nitro Viper. I find it really, really lazy. Let's take a look at the figure's articulation. Like the Track Viper's articulation, there's no changes at all. Head can pivot back a little bit, down a little bit, cannot go side to side, but can go a little bit left and right. Torso is made of an O-ring. It connects from the peg in the torso down to the hook down at the hip joint area, so you can only turn left and right, back a little bit, forward a little bit, or side to side. You cannot turn the joint 360 degrees, otherwise you snap the O-ring rubber band there. Shoulder joints here can turn 360 degrees and lift the arms this high. Elbow joint here can bend this far and turn 360 degrees. No wrist joint, it's all solid. Hip joints here can move forward, straight. Single jointed knee that only bends this far, and no ankle joint. Now let's equip him with the smaller pistol here. As you can see, if you compare next to the Track Viper itself, no changes at all. So what I think about the figure is that he's just a very lazy figure, thanks to Hasbro itself. Hasbro being lazy, trying to take another character and just repaint it, and the colors is not really that pleasing to the eyes. I still prefer the original Track Viper's colors. This is like black with neon bright orange with bright silver colors going on the top and the bottom section of the body itself. It looks really silly actually. And furthermore, if you compare to the comic version, the comic version looks a bit more better compared to the figure itself, which is kind of ironic. So the figure is nothing really special. If I'm going to give a rating to the Nitro Viper itself, I'm just going to give it a 4 out of 10. Yes, 4 out of 10 for this completely lazy design of a figure. They didn't actually design much, they just took the figure from another figure. And the utterly, really bright colors. I just cannot even imagine any real soldiers wearing such bright orange pants there. I don't mind the head or the elbow or the straps, but such a bright orange pants with silver boots, really wrong and really bad taste there. So yes, 4 out of 10 for the Nitro Viper. Next up, let's take a look at the Detonator. Be right back. And we're back, and this time we'll take a look at the Detonator. But first things first, let's take a look at the instruction manual. Now, like all instruction manual, this 2-page, almost 2¼ page of the instruction manual shows you on how to assemble the detonator itself, which is very easy, judging by the pictures itself. This section here shows you where to place all the sticker labels. And here we have an image, a side view of the detonator, and at the bottom a very short listing of the techno babble for the detonator itself. Now let's take a look at the vehicle. Now the vehicle is absolutely huge, but compared to the G.I. Joe Rolling Thunder, the Rolling Thunder is way more longer compared to the detonator itself. The detonator is almost there to the size itself, but still no dice, because the Rolling Thunder is still one of the larger land battleship vehicles for the G.I. Joe toy line. But still, let's do a size comparison. This is the side view of the detonator itself, and next to me is the Nitro Viper. As you can see, the sheer size of it. And then we have the 30th anniversary Cobra Viper. As you can see, the size of the detonator is really overwhelming. Now let's take a look at the colors for the detonator. Now, majority of the parts, the body itself is made of a dark blue plastic material color. There's absolutely no paint job applied onto the vehicle itself, like any other G.I. Joe vehicles that was released in the 80s and 90s period. So the body is made of a dark blue plastic material color. All the wheels, the large wheels, are made of a black plastic material color. The front portion of the gun here, or the cannon here, the battering rams, the spike battering ram here for the bumper. The clip-ons for the missiles. The back gun. And the rear bumper is all made of a silver plastic material color. At the bottom there's nothing special. Now for the rest of the parts, the plunger itself, this entire piece here, one part of the gimmick for the detonator, and also for this piece here, the ratchet piece and the cockpit area here is made of a orange plastic material color. Now on the other side of the vehicle itself, we have a black tubing. I'm going to remove this. The black tubing that connects from this point into the body of the detonator itself, made of a black plastic material color. Very nicely done. And finally we have 3 Nerf Rockets made of orange foam, and the fins are made of black foams instead. And that's all the colors there is for the detonator. And I have to say the colors is a little bit turned off due to the orange parts there, especially on the Nerf Rockets and the huge plunger. On the orange parts really turn off the whole entire aesthetic for the detonator. But the dark blue for the vehicle itself and the black wheels looks very nice, especially when it has silver parts like the machine guns from the front and the back, and the cannons at the back, and the bumpers itself looks really nicely done with the colors. It's just the orange part really ruins the colors. Very nice. Now let's take a look at the details for the detonator itself. Here at the front portion of the vehicle, we have a 2-barrel, I would say, cannon and a machine gun there. Very nice. The details is quite simple. The front portion of the detonator, we have slope armor, a lot of grille and panelings as well, extra armor panelings. Very nice. Here we have 3 slits for the driver to see through. From the front portion here, we have spiked bumper for anti-infantry, which looks very intimidating. From the front portion of the view, it looks quite intimidating. On the other side, there's no machine gun. Only one portion of this section has a machine gun there. Now I'm going to remove the Nerf Rockets first. To show you the inside of the driver's seat. This is where the driver sits. There's actually 3 seatings from the front and 2 seatings at the back here. From the back here, we have 2 seatings with mechanical controls in the middle. Very nice. Closer inspection shows this at the back here. We have 2 more seatings and more control panels here. Most probably to control this entire piece here to launch the rockets itself. Here we have the launcher itself with pistons, tubings, wiring at the back. Very nice. But it's all in orange. As you can see, there are platforms. Also the same from the other side. There's also another 2 more platforms on the other side as well, with 1 peg per platform, so you can actually have another more figures or a few more figures to stand on the platform itself, which I see this point here is rather dangerous because the amount of space that the Cobra Trooper have to stand in there, it's like it's bound to fall off the moment this vehicle drives off. We have huge size wheels, and inside the wheel itself you have a lot of rivets as well. Very nice. Huge tires. Very nicely done. Here we have the clip-on with the tubing itself that connects to the clip-on itself. No, it's not articulated, of course. There's a lot of nice details on the top section here. As you can see, a lot of mechanical details. Except This part, the huge plunger here, ruins everything. You will notice the plastic is also starts to wear a little bit worn off there. There's a lot of details at the back portion. Again, this piece just ruins everything. And at the back portion of the vehicle here, this is where you place another figure. A smaller control panel that actually is not really detailed. It's just only placed with a sticker label, as you can see there. There's twin guns at the back here, most probably for anti-infantry and anti-air. Very nice. As you can see, the design of the entire piece here is all in gears, which I'm going to demonstrate later on for the features. Again, same mode from the other side, nothing changed. And of course, at the bottom of the vehicle, this is a smaller hole. Inside this section here is a smaller pump, and there's a tubing that connects to this pump itself. This tubing goes all the way to this section here. And at the back portion of the vehicle itself, gas tanks or whatever tank is there, as you can see, the back rear bumper actually has spikes and also pegs for the figure to stand on, and a small little hookup. Very nice. Very nicely done. The vehicle is not bad looking with the details, except for the gimmick itself. And speaking of the gimmick, this is the Nerf Rockets itself. Nothing special. It's made of a Nerf foam. As you can see, we have fins at the back as well, and you're meant to slide in this entire piece, or you can plug it on the clippers here, like so, for storage. Now, when I was a kid, I kept wondering, how does the Cobra Troops reload the missiles? Because the clippers here is meant to hold on to the missiles, so I don't see any mechanical arms or anything to, well, to do auto reload, and you can't actually expect the Cobra Troopers to carry this by hand and then stuff it onto this section here. It would just seem ridiculous. Now let's take a look at some of the features of the detonator itself. Here we have the gun that can go all the way to the back here and all the way to the side, which is not bad for a machine gun that covers at least the front portion of the view itself, and to the side, at least one side itself. Here, this entire piece is actually articulated. You can bend forward or all the way up. Like I mentioned before, the clip-on here is not articulated. And we have the plunger here. Now the whole gimmick is, if you already haven't guessed it already, the whole gimmick is if you push the entire plunger all the way down, it forces the air to travel from the tubing all the way into this section here, and then use the air to, well, for pressure to push this entire Nerf rocket out. Problem is, I cannot show you that gimmick because the air pump inside is, well, leaking air, so it's still able to pump air into this piece here. The problem is, it's not strong enough to launch the Nerf rocket, so I assume that some of the seals are not tight enough, so some of the air managed to, well, get out. Now in the back portion here, you can store one figure at the back here, and basically if you turn the cockpit area, you also turn the gun from the other side as well. Nothing really impressive, it's just, well, very simple. I really wish they find a way to actually cover the gears itself. It just looked really weird. The entire vehicle, we have the kitty stuff, looks impressive. It's just the colors and some of the gimmick, it's just really turned off for any G.I. Joe collectors. A lot of G.I. Joe collectors just don't like this vehicle because of the Nerf Rockets and the bright colors. But if you look past the colors itself, the vehicle itself is very menacing. I just won't blame them due to the colors, because for me the colors looks really ridiculous. Now, there's also one last feature that I forgot to mention. Does it roll? Well, seeing that it has 6 wheels and it squeaks a lot, as you can see, and it's noisy as hell, but it rolls pretty well. Now let's place in the figure, the Nitro Viper figure, into the driver's seat area. As you can see, very nice. It sits in quite well. No seat belt or anything, unlike the other vehicles itself. It's quite nice for this vehicle. Now, you're probably asking, does the Detonator fit in with the newer figures? The answer is yes. It's compatible to fit in the newer figures. So, on next to me, we have the His Tank Commander, because well, might as well put in a His Tank Commander for such a vehicle like this. As you can see, he's sitting all the way in like so. And yes, you can even put in the Cobra Vipers as well. There's enough room to place in a figure with a backpack, of course depending on the size of the backpack. As you can see, very nice. You can also place as much figures as you can, well, at least at the seating area. I'm just going to remove this, place in the figures here, place in another figure here. Very nice. And lastly, well, once I place this in, and lastly, we will place the final figure at the back here. Very nice. So yes, the Detonator can fit in the 30th anniversary figures or even the 25th anniversary figures as well. And as you can see, it looks rather impressive looking. This vehicle itself does look very impressive, but as I mentioned before, the colors just ruins everything. The orange, bright orange colors is such a turn off. So I'm not too sure why Hasbro thought it's a good idea, but it's one of the things that Hasbro thought. Putting brightly colored items or parts onto the vehicles or figures just to attract kids. And back then, kids are not really that, well, impressed by bright colors. The 80s toys can already prove that. So if I'm going to give a rating of the Detonator, the sheer size and the body itself is impressive. It's just the colors itself is just quite lame. So if I'm going to give a rating on this, I'm just going to give it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10, because majority of the points score due to the size of the vehicle, that it can fit in the newer figures, it can fit in quite a number of figures as well. The details of the body is quite impressive, hence why it scored a lot of points on that. And the rest of the points just because of the colors itself and the Nerf Rockets gimmick. It's not really impressive. So yes, 7 out of 10 for the Detonator. I thank you all for watching. This is Lucy05 and I'm signing off.